Hi, this is Mac in Oz. Welcome to another episode of BuyPoint ASX. Today we're doing something a little bit different. Rather than talking about a buy point that is right here, right now, that you might want to act on, I'm going to talk about the conundrum that is the current focus of my attention. That question is, how do you identify a buy point when a stock is clearly in consolidation? The example I'm using, because it's been vexing me for months, is Rio Tinto, which is up 50% in 6 months. Did you see that coming? Unfortunately, neither did I. So let's keep this along the same lines as all the other BuyPoint ASX videos. Let's look at why we're looking at this stock in the first place. This is the basic black chart. This demonstrates the key feature of any stock that I might recommend you buy if you are a long-term investor. The key feature is that apart from obvious short-term anomalies, this one right here is one that I still have to come to understand at some point, the stock price keeps going up. The basic idea, the basic rule, is that you only buy a stock as a long-term investor if you are absolutely convinced the stock has not yet hit its all-time high. The best times are before us. And Rio Tinto certainly fits that mould. And as any of the charts that we're going to look at in this video demonstrate, there's a very obvious reason for everyone to be interested in what's been going on with Rio Tinto. Now, here is the short-term chart that I refer people to. What has the stock been doing since COVID? The last short-term major shake-up in the ASX. And you can see it's been doing not a lot of anything. The stock recovered and returned to a point that it might have been at if its growth pattern had continued. Then it went into this jagged sawtooth sideways pattern, essentially going nowhere. And that was a major concern for Australian long-term investors because Rio Tinto, even though it is stuck permanently in the shadow of its big brother, the big Australian, BHP, which incidentally is once again the biggest company on the ASX. Even though Rio Tinto is not the big Australian, it is certainly a big Australian. And if you want to know in the simplest terms why you might be interested in buying shares in Rio Tinto, it's Rio Tinto. It's one of the biggest mining companies on the planet. And it has, as we've just seen, a long history of generating great returns for investors. Now here is the conundrum. On the basis of what I thought was a consolidation buy point, this was the last time I recommended to my clients that they buy Rio. That was back in March, and it didn't look like such a great recommendation in the short term. Drongo Donny sort of that, when Rio Tinto and every other stock on the planet plummeted on the realisation that we had a real cretin running the biggest economy on the planet. Then we had another dip in June. I can't put my finger on exactly what happened there. But then, after a period of what I now see as consolidation, look here, in September, the stock took off and it has grown 50% in 6 months. Rio has seen one of the most spectacular spurts of growth in its long and storied history. And the point of all this is to try to see what we can see about how to actually identify a consolidation buy point, because this is going to happen again. And if you want next time to be in front of this 50% growth, it would be a good idea to know what you're looking for. Key indicators on this slide that I think we need to pay attention to. The MACD never drops below the zero line. Normally, I only recommend buy points when there is a golden cross below the zero line. That's not always reliable. Rule number 2 in technical analysis, or rule number 1 really, is never act on a single indicator. But this is a primary indicator, and this is outside the norm in terms of what is going to constitute a buy point. The other thing that I think is significant is that you see these repeated bullish trend reversal indicators where the price action line cuts upward through the 200-day simple moving average line. I think those things are key. I can't say that I finished my research, but that's certainly, those two factors are certainly emerging as key indicators. Here is a different view. Now, I didn't put this up in the video, but you can go off and do it yourself. If you ask ChatGPT what are the factors that are going to identify a consolidation buy point, it doesn't tell you very much. It's very deep. Maybe if you use the paid version, you'll get something better. But the primary thing that was different about what ChatGPT was saying to me was that after identifying that the price was going up, you look to see if the you look and see that volume is exceptionally high, and that's the indicator for a consolidation buy point and breakout. I don't see any evidence of that in this chart for the relevant period for Rio. Here is the chart that I include for people who are interested in candlestick analysis, which seems to include most people younger than myself. Again, I'm not saying that I have got this down, but I don't see a buy point there on the basis of the candlesticks. If you do, and you can explain it to me, my email is in the final disclaimer, so let me know what you're seeing that I am not. This is what I thought constituted a consolidation buy point before I made the recommendation to my clients to buy it here. You can see we have similar indications in terms of these bullish trend reversal indicators, except the 200-day single moving average is constantly going down, and the MACD is constantly crossing below the zero line. Do these factors mean that this is not going to constitute a reliable consolidation buy point? And here is what has happened since the actual consolidation buy point, and you see my point that this is nowhere near what a point at which I would normally recommend my clients buy the stock. However, some people see the golden cross as being a buy point, whether or not it is above or below the zero line. I don't share that view, but if you did take that attitude, then Rio is at a buy point right now, and a lot of people think that you should buy a stock when it's going up. Here are the basics that I always include, and you'll see nothing there that signifies, hey, let's buy Rio right now. So it's certainly got me vexed. And here's the disclaimer.